Chapter 76, Unsolicited. As the troubled confrontation between Hyun-ki and Sarah emanates, Riel picked up the strip still in a plastic sachet, quickly kept it in her bag, and briskly walked to the ladies' room. Riel held the strip, and wondered how this could be related to the overheard argument between Hyun asking about Sarah's pregnancy. She was examining the test strip when a cleaner came to the restroom and saw what Riel held. The cleaner smiled and exclaimed, "You're pregnant, ma'am." Riel was shocked and denied, "No, this wasn't mine. I saw it here and was wondering what this was. And you said, I'm pregnant? How would you know if the owner of this strip is pregnant?" wondered Riel. These two lines meant, positive. So, whoever owned this was pregnant. Riel was worried. She was pregnant. Riel was shocked and commented in a loud tone. She was troubled about what she found out and quickly left the restroom. She was entering the CEO's office when Hyun caught up with her. "Where have you been, babe?" Hyun asked. He looked bothered. "I came from the restroom." "Why?" Riel asked, concealing her suspicion about him and Sarah. "Oh, nothing. I'm not feeling well." "Let us go home." "You're not feeling well." Riel was annoyed. "You were in a good mood a while ago, and now, you're not feeling well? What did that manager tell you that put you in a bad mood?" Riel asked, pretending she did not know what transpired earlier. "It's just business, Riel. Let us go home now, please, sweetheart," implored Hyun-ki. Riel withheld what she felt about the whole thing, and thought of waiting for him to open up. Once they got home, Hyun went to the wine bar for a drink. Riel kept silent, trying to be patient while waiting for Hyun's confession, but to no avail. Riel went up to their room to change while getting bothered by what she heard from Hyun and Sarah's argument. She took her bag and sat, took out the test strip, and while holding it, Hyun went in. She quickly kept the test strip in her pajama pocket, and watched Hyun, walking towards the walk-in closet. He took off his clothes for fresh ones, still quiet, as he left the walk-in closet and sat on the couch. He was glum, and as Riel looked at him, he was in deep thought and phased. He leaned his head on the headrest, and closed his eyes, unmindful that Riel was there too in the room, who was at that instant severely looking at him, waiting for him to speak. Riel could no longer hold her peace, then spoke. "What's bothering you, Hyun? Are we getting bankrupt?" Hyun winced, astonished by Riel's question thrown at him. "What turned bankrupt were you talking about?" "I just felt distracted, which made me uneasy and sick, that's all." Hyun rose from his seat and stood. "Then tell me, Hyun, what distracted you that you feel sick about?" "I have the right to know." Riel was insistent. "Not now, Riel, please," implored Hyun. Riel was utterly irritated by his lies and excuses that she suddenly held out the test strip from her pocket and threw it outrightly on Hyun's face. He got startled, and he touched his face, and felt a gush. He saw Riel's expression fuming in anger, and was about to ask when Riel yelled at him, "Lies. Lies. Lies. Couldn't you, just for once, be honest and tell me what was going on?" Riel declared. Hyun-ki picked up the pregnancy test strip and was shocked. "What? Are you pregnant too?" Hyun was surprised. "See? A big fish was cut outrightly from its mouth." Riel was fuming adamantly in anger. "Why, Hyun? Why did you lie to me about Sarah? And now, you were hiding the truth that she is with a child. You impregnated her, and now you are keeping it from me." Hyun was dazed and lost for words. He began to stammer. What are you saying? Where did this come from?" Still holding the test strip, and froze where he stood. Riel couldn't believe what she heard from Hyun-ki at that instant. She wanted to scream at the top of her lungs, because Hyun continued on lying, pretending he knew nothing. "You will stand up for your lie, is that it? You're caught lying and would still stand up for it." Riel paced the floor angrily, twisting her fingers, then walked to him and started pounding his chest with her closed fists, dismayed and disgusted while crying. Hyun was helpless and would only cringe out of guilt and shame. "I hate you, Hyun. You still have the guts to lie in my face. How could you do this to me? Huh? You said you already broke up with Sarah, but here you are, had her pregnant, and seemed like both of you made a fool out of me, a laughing stock." She held and raised her hair out of disgust and anger. Hyun came close to Riel and embraced her, not letting her go even though she struggled to escape his grip. Then he wept, asking for her forgiveness. Hyun sobbed, "I'm so sorry, Riel. I sincerely didn't want to hurt you, and I was so confused and fearful, because I did not know how to resolve this." I do not know how to get out of this problem. Hyun was too emotional that he paused for air, then continued. Maybe if I did not admit it, you would stop, until I could think of a way to solve this, without you getting mixed up in this trouble I caused. Riel, I was also shocked, and this was unexpected. I didn't want this to happen and never dreamed of having a child with her. Believe me, with a blank face, she forced herself to free herself from his embrace and said, I'm sorry, too. Then Riel walked out from him, and went to the other room. She crouched slowly on the floor, with bent knees toward her, laid her chin on them, her hands wrapped around her legs, and started to weep in sorrow. And when her emotions grew heavier, she cried with rage. Her eyes grew more severe from crying, and later, she got tired from crying and fell asleep. Morning came, and the sun started peeking through the windows of the separate bedrooms, where Hyun and Riel were. Finding their room lit with sunlight, Riel found herself lying on the floor upon waking up. She sat again, leaned on the wall, stretched her legs out, with her hands touching the floor, and began to think. Meanwhile, Hyun saw himself alone in the room, and wondered where Riel was. He descended the stairs, thinking that Riel was already in the dining area, having breakfast because he recalled they never had a chance to have dinner the previous night. He felt disappointed when Riel was not there, so he wandered around the vast garden, but she was nowhere to be found. He asked the maids where Riel was and they couldn't tell. He walked to the guest room, then sought her in the other rooms, only to find her in the room annexed to their bedroom. He padded towards Riel and sat close to her in silence. He could not mutter or find the right words to say, so he held her hand and clasped it to his. She made no reaction. Both chose to be silent and sat there longer until Riel sobbed. Hyun felt sympathy that he had her in his arms, and embraced her quietly. Then Riel spoke in a shaky voice. What now, Hyun? What will happen to Sarah and us? Hyun hushed Riel, then replied, I should have done this long ago, and I have no other alternative. I promise she would not be a burden to us, especially to you. Riel, she gazed at him curiously. And what should have you done long ago? Riel curiously asked in a low voice. I should have her terminated when we broke up. Just because she had never bothered me since, and was quiet. I thought she would be all right, considering she needed a job. In a soft, low tone, she spoke with great determination. And what will you do? Kick her out of the company now? Then what? Is that a good decision? Riel refused Hyun's decision. I have no other solution to this problem, Riel. The longer she stays in the company, the more she will flounder her pregnancy, and let everyone know she is with my child. I could not let that happen. Riel spoke calmly, saying, Okay, calm down. I thought about this last night. I suggest she leave the company and isolate herself from people she knows. You have no choice but to support her pregnancy until she gives birth. We could have devised another plan before her time comes, but for now, that thing she is carrying is your child, Hyun. Do not deny that child to be fathered by you. Hyun looked proudly at Riel and felt grateful, thinking of being fortunate to have her as his wife. He took her into his arms and embraced her, then he lifted her chin, pressed his lips onto hers, and kissed her passionately. Slowly, he stared at her gently, and brushed his fingers into her hair. Then he said, Oh, thank God. I am so fortunate to have you as my wife, Riel, and no one could ever take your place. There is no one I'd rather steal blankets from. I will always love you, my wife. Hyun hugged Riel so tight and thought, no one could ever be like her. They were at peace again and went downstairs to have breakfast. Then Hyun called the sales agent from whom he bought the house he gifted to Riel, and told him he needed a place to rent for a relative. The sales agent replied, I have several on my list, sir. Tell me your preference, and I'll get back to you. Hyun was already in his office when he called Sarah on his mobile and told her to see him. Would Sarah accept Hyun's offer? Keep following the Windows of the Heart series. Enjoy it, and remember to like and subscribe to my YouTube and TikTok channels. Thank you so much for watching.